Oh, thank you. What is that? I guess we'll find out. What? Oh, no. I was looking at something on the internet.
Is tonight windows and doors?
No,
No.
no. You don't see anything yet, right? Oh, yeah. Do you
We
see
see your
this?
slideshow.
Yeah, do you see this sustainable landscaping?
Yeah.
Okay. So this, I ripped it off, borrowed it with his consent from Mike Ganella. So you may have possibly seen this.
Oh, I've for sure seen this.
Okay. So we are now considering the site, the building site, as important as the building in terms of sustainability. So the landscaping is really important. So we're just going to run through these slides real quick. Can you read that? Is that big enough?
No, not really well.
Okay, so okay, so let me stop sharing. Yeah, and go to my my version of it. Okay, good. Okay, you can see that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, just files.
Oh, you can't see this individual one?
No, it looks just like a folder with 5 files in it.
Oh, God. So that doesn't show up in the slides, huh? All right, back
No,
to square.
we can't see it yet.
Okay, back to square one. Okay. You're just going to have to squint. I'll read these to you. So the important things about a sustainable landscape are obviously conserving water, right? So since water is one of the services of a house, residence, conserving water is part of that, right? So we can conserve the water in our yard. We can improve soil health, create wildlife habitat. That's a good one. Reduce plant pathogens, ensuring human health, minimizing environmental pollution. So we'll look into each of those. So they take a lot of this data from a study of sustainable cities, and this particular study was of Santa Monica, which is always ahead of everyone else in doing stuff. And if you want to see more about Santa Monica, there's a, you could, instead of following this, you can just go to Santa Monica, California Sustainability Practices. That would get you into these photo galleries quicker than this.
What's it called?
Santa Monica, California,
Website?
sustainable practices. And as a city, you know, the great thing is they're sort of an appendix of Los Angeles, even though they're a separate city. So they have, there's a lot of wealth, both in resources and things being offered. And so they can do a lot of stuff. Their tax base is high. So that's one of the advantages they have. It's not, I don't think it's bigger than Santa Barbara itself, although it joins LA, West LA. But it just does so many interesting things all the time. They're really into sustainability. Okay, biodiversity, we want that. We want to choose the right plant for the right place. That's important. Plants sometimes need a lot of sunlight, sometimes need very little. Group plants with similar irrigation requirements, then you have the same type of irrigation systems, which saves water. And usually if you mix them, you under and overwater them. Of course, use native or Mediterranean type plants because they get along better. The reason native plants, and Lewis can correct me on all this stuff if he wants. The reason that native plants are so important is because they've been here for thousands of years, maybe some of them millions of years. So they know this place. They've co-evolved with the whole ecology here. And so they're very healthy. They've learned how to survive here. And that's the reason we have them, not just because we have some kind of nostalgia for native plants, but it's because they survive very well. This is their land. Provide wildlife habitat. That has not much to do with building, but it's a really important thing that your building and site should foster other things just besides your enjoyment and health. You belong to a community, and we're starting to realize that individual homes and sites impact the community, with water runoff and all kinds of things. But we're also involved in a community of non-human wildlife. We tend to forget that. So anytime you can create resources for that wildlife, lots of times we live in urban or suburban areas where we're restricting the land that wildlife originally had. They're like us, they need a certain amount of minimum land. And when we take it from them, then it's kind of nice for us to offer them resources to make up for that. So we can offer them water. Almost all the animals need water, especially birds. And then an important one are insects, especially the ones that, what do you call it, Lewis, that fertilize other plants?
Pollinator fixing.
Pollinators, yeah, especially pollinators. It's really important that we keep, them around. And so it's important that we help the bees and the butterflies and the hummingbirds and the various animals that pollinate, because that's where the new plants come from. So we have to keep those. And there's things we can do for those too in your yard. Okay. These are things: reduce your lawn area, get a water audit, harvest rainwater for garden use, and design landscape with water conserving systems, rain gardens, permeable pavers. If we talked about rain gardens, I mean, we talked before about keeping the water away from the house, right? Because it just isn't good for the water to come into the basement or into your foundation area. And so while we're keeping the water away from the house, we should also keep it away from the rainwater culverts. and keep it from going into the ocean, because if it washes across our land, there could be a lot of pollutants in our land, especially to do with agriculture and horticulture. So the solution to both of those is to let the water stay on your land and soak into the water table. So rain gardens are just depressions in the land, and they're done in an aesthetic landscaping way. And the water can, instead of blowing over your land or getting into your house and causing trouble, it stays in designated area and slowly soaks into the land. So we're starting to build with those in the lands. It's really a great idea. We talked about where water goes. If it goes into the storm drain, we talked about this last week, the week before. If it goes into the storm drain, it goes into the ocean, and then it evaporates, and then the winds take it where they want, and they don't. And even if the winds blow it over land, it has to accumulate a critical mass before it'll rain, which doesn't ever seem to happen with local ocean water here. It either blows south toward LA, or it blows north, or it blows over us before it rains. So you can't predict where ocean water is going to evaporate and produce rain clouds. It's a safer bet to hold the groundwater in a water table underneath you, and then use that water. That way you're sure that the water will stay here. So this is interesting, using low-tech tools, use less energy. Yeah, let's skip some of this. Yeah, composting, that's a good thing to do. Takes time. You have to have a little leisure time. Most of you guys work so hard, you don't have that, but you will. Mulch is a good thing, holds the water to the land. Yeah, these are.
Patrick, you know what the saying is for sinking rainwater?
For what, rainwater?
Yeah, slow it, spread it, sink it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's good. So slow it so it doesn't just wash over into your house, into the next house. Slow it, sink it. What's the second one?
Spread it, sink it.
Spread it. Yeah. Yeah. So, that goes for rain cisterns too, from your rooftop collection. That's a good thing too. Those things really work. We're spoiled here, so we don't need it, but you go to poor places like New Mexico, around Santa Fe. I've told this story, but I knew a guy, he was a weaver. He lived in the hills above Santa Fe, and he, in New Mexico, in that part of New Mexico, they have monsoon rain. So it rains every day in the summer for like an hour, but the whole sky opens up and it just pelts the land for an hour, and then it goes away. And then after summer, it's a lot sketchier. But if you collect it when it's coming down like cats and dogs in a cistern, off your roof into a cistern, this guy said he had enough water for all his water needs throughout the year. Now, he couldn't take big baths or long showers, but he could take showers, and he had drinking water and, washing dishwater and all that, which is pretty amazing for a desert, huh? That you could actually get enough water to sustain yourself. So we don't do it here because, it's just a different community and everything's different, but it's something to think about. Okay, let's move on. So safety. We're going to cover safety again a little bit. And these are hazards in the home. We talked about carbon monoxide, and now you have to have a detector in all new homes, wired. So these are combustion byproducts. This is interesting. If you have all electric equipment, you don't have a combustion byproduct, except for your, well, you do still, actually. It's not a byproduct of the combustion, but it's a byproduct of what you're cooking. So you will have water vapor because cooking food creates water vapor, but you won't have carbon dioxide and you won't have carbon monoxide coming from the combustion. So water, like we said, can cause mechanical failure, can potentially cause mold. So water can be an enemy. So you have to watch water. Bulk water comes in from the outside. These are all hazards, poisons, VOCs. We'll talk a lot about that in 122, a lot more than now, but they're just special chemicals that are used in furniture and carpeting. It's what stinks in a new carpet. And they off gas, and they're not good for people. They're actually can cause health problems. So we want to use products with less VOCs. The state keeps lowering the permissible VOC level, which is great. So you can't even buy something that's too deadly anymore. It's still good to keep it to real low or no VOCs. And there are companies that are making alternate products with no VOCs. So that's a big industry thing. Arsenic from treated lumber. That could be if you had a deck with treated lumber and little kids licked it, like they lick everything, that could be a problem. But usually the arsenic and treated doesn't get to people too easily. Cyanide, that's great. That's great. They have cyanide and foam board. I love it. Asbestos, we've really sort of gotten, that's not even on the market anymore, so that's good. Lead is old, and insulation's old. You might have it in an old house. Okay, so OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Is a government organization that's in charge of safety and construction, and they have classes all the time. As a carpenter and a person in the building industry, these are really great to take. You can't know enough first aid and health. So there's trainings all over the place. If you're interested, call the Santa Barbara Contractors Association, and they'll tell you where there's training. And they say workplace standards. In big companies, they usually have an employee that only does OSHA compliance work. Because if you have big enough jobs, or a series of big enough jobs, it's full time. You got to have someone making sure you comply with it, because they can come on the job. They make unannounced inspections, and they can make you stop work. They can make you redo things. They can fine you. So you want to make sure you're on top of what they need. Yeah, understand the difference between audit and contractor grade equipment is really important. The pandemic really brought that out, because we had masks. We actually used the same mask sometimes as they recommended. What was it? What were they called? The N9,
N95s.
N95s, yeah. But we started during a distinction, and people in the trades have always known distinctions, that you can wear a dust mask just for getting sawdust and flying dust away from you. But if you've got any kind of chemical in that air, you need a better mask with better filters in them. Like painters always wear these because they deal with all kinds of nasty stuff. So it's good to know what kind of materials you're going to be around, and wear the appropriate mask. Some are better and some aren't. These are more expensive, but they really do the job if you're trying to keep toxins out of your lungs. There's a thing called a material safety data sheet that every product that's made has. And if it doesn't come with the product on a piece of paper, you can look it up on the internet, and it tells you what kind of hazards come with that material. Usually they're chemical hazards, of course. And it'll tell you how much, if there's any cyanide or arsenic or VOCs or formaldehyde. And then it'll also tell you how you prepare yourself to deal with it. So these are really great product things, and the government has required industry to make these, which is really great. So you can find out on a job, and if you have a person that's doing this safety, like I said, they will go through all the materials that the crew is going to use, and they will post safety regulations in regard to those. So that's another reason why it's good to have a person that's on top of all this. You can post for the carpenters, don't do this work until you have this kind of mask or, blah, blah, blah. So that's really good. There's electricity issues, obviously. Yeah, just things about knob and tube. We don't need to go into this too much. Insulating is a thing. Knob and tube you can't insulate. And yeah, insulating can get in the way. The electrical can get in the way of insulating too, as we discovered. Vermiculite used to be an insulation material. It's kind of a rock, pebbly, but it comes from the same quarries as asbestos. Sometimes there'll be veins of both in the same quarry, and they'll mine the vermiculite and sell it, and it will have asbestos in it. So the safety precaution now is just don't use vermiculite. There's so many other things you don't need to use it. This is clearances. We won't go into this. It's kind of HVAC. Now, like we said, they have cans that you can put insulation right up to. So you don't have to worry about this. Mold and rot in the attic. You've got a water meter you can stick in. They've got prongs. You can stick it in wood to see if there's actually water in the excess water in the structure. Fans must vent to the outside, not just into the attic. Certain period in our history, they used to just do a lot of these into the attic, like a dryer vent, even a range hood vent sometimes. And that's not up to code, and it's not particularly healthy. Mold and rot, water damage. That's something to look for. Usually people smell mold and then they go looking and then they find it, or they hire someone and they find it. Most of the time, if we don't smell it or actually see it, we just sort of assume it's not there, which I suppose is okay. This a lot of these requirements were on that BPI test and was on the midterm about corroded and flex lines that are prior to 1973 must go. These are just bad vent things. Too big of a turn here. This is just too confusing. This, at least everything's going up. Sometimes they go down. We'll maybe see a picture. I don't know what those are. Poor connections or inadequate low slope. I'm not sure what the problem is here. Oh, it's making a U-turn there. Yeah, that's too sharp. They say this it actually slopes a little down. You can't really tell by the picture. But those are kinds of problems. This looks bad because it goes into a bigger one, then it goes back down. And it might be okay. So when you do that flue testing, draft testing, you can tell if it's okay, it might be okay. These are agencies to turn to. ASHRAE, this is where all the, if you ever wanted to know what that acronym meant, here it is. But this is where all the HVAC people get their formulas for sizing your HVAC systems. And they really need to stick to this. Sometimes they use, seat of the pants wisdom, and they get it too small or too big a system. Oh, here we go, gas detection. First one, you hear the clicks, then you do the bubble thing, yeah. This is worst case depressurization. We've already gone over this. This is the same thing. This is a measuring building performance. This is kind of what we talked about in the last few weeks. Outside inspection, venting systems, also if the water's coming up to the house, ambient CO, inspect appliance, look for gas leaks, depressurize, look for spillage. So that's kind of a summary of all that stuff. Look for CO. The flame shape, we talked about that. The flame shouldn't be yellow. If it's yellow, it's not tuned right. It should be blue, and it shouldn't touch the bottom of the pan like Jack was asking. Okay. This is a formula for if you're trying to find the real R value, like the government, the building code just says you have to have, say, R30 in the attic. It changes all the time. It mostly goes up in this state. So if you go to the store and buy R30 fiberglass, you can put it in your attic and you're done with it. That means that your attic's not really R30 because you've got joists running in it, which have much less insulated value. And you have to average out the joists with the bays, the fiberglass and the bays. But the government, think if everyone had to do that, it'd be a mess because it's not that simple to do. So they just say, when they say R30, they mean that's the kind of insulation you got to have in there, period. Which is great. It makes it simple. But if you want to find out there might be all kinds of reasons that you want to find out what the exact R value of an attic or a wall, you use this system here. I'm not going to go over it. If you're interested in that, you don't add it up. You have to, the main gist of this is that you take the R value of both joist and insulation and you flip it over into a U value. You put 1 over that. See here, R equals 1 over U. So then you can add them. You can multiply them and add them. And then you'll get a U value. And then you have to change that back to an R value. And that'll give you your total R value. So just follow this if you're interested. And then this. Oh yeah, this just shows an infrared. They took it around these lights, and it used to be you couldn't put insulation close to the light. So of course you'd have an uninsulated area where all your hot air goes up into. We don't have that problem anymore because we have cans that can be insulated right up near them. Okay. Okay, got it? So now, how are we doing? You want to go to the slideshow real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me find it. Here it is. And Zoom meeting back. Back to home. Back to screen share. Back to that. Do you guys talk to yourselves when you think?
All the time.
I know. You know, thinking is just talking inside your head. So what difference does it make, right? We used to think people were crazy that talked out loud, but they're just too lazy to make it private, you know? Same stuff.
What kind of expands your workspace?
It does. It does. Okay, so can everybody see this?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'll streamline. These are the people that are going to talk about this. Franklin Energy. You know, you get a lot of people that energy companies and utilities. Did you know that public utilities like Southern Cal Edison and PG&E up north, they by law they have to set aside a percentage of their the money they get from ratepayers, and they have to put it into public education, which is actually a really good thing. I'm glad the government does that. So they take money and they do they run seminars. I've been to many of them up in San Francisco, and they're really quite good. And so they have to do this. So they're always contributing to the public know-how. They may do it by making these guys do it by doing these slideshows and presentations. So they're around and they're always free because, you know, we've already paid for them in paying for our electric bills. So since we've talked about a lot of these health things, we'll just go through this. This is a more comprehensive view of indoor air quality, which we'll talk about next semester too, if you take the 122, because indoor air quality is one of the dimensions of green building. And it's a really important one because our health is involved. So here's health stressors in a home. We've just talked about formaldehyde, carbon monoxide, VOCs. There's also radon, especially in Goleta, California, and Santa Barbara. We have high radon rates here because we're on the rock layer that's good for that. Humidity condensation, extreme heat, extreme cold, dust and allergens and mold, and pests and bacterial agents. So these three, and these are borderline, but chemical, physical, biological problems. And then these are ways to deal with them. But listen, look at this, look at these health issues and see if anybody in your family or yourself has these. Asthma is exacerbated by these, COPD, which is a breathing disorder, bronchitis, allergies, rhinitis, headaches, heart disease, hypertension, sinus problems, fatigue, anxiety and stress, lung cancer. That's a pretty good hit there, right? Series of hits. So it's really important, and I'm really happy that building industries finally put the energy into this because it's great, you know. So when people ask what the government does, and that's a legitimate question because we pay them a lot of money through our taxes. We want to make sure what they do is, you know, worth the money and makes sense. And a lot of people complain about the EPA and all these organizations that are EPA's Environmental Protection Agency that are part of the government. And a lot of people think, oh, they're taking our tax money. But look at what they do. They keep us healthy. The government's job is to make sure our lives are okay, that we're safe, secure, and healthy. Those are some of the prime motives of any government. And the world is so complicated, and manufacturers don't give a shit. They'll put poison and all kinds of shit in your, you know, furniture, cigarette. You know the story. They're not going to watch themselves. So the government has to be there to make sure that, and they come down on things that are obvious health problems like tobacco and you know, various things. And they also have made indoor air quality an important issue also. So they have weatherization assistance programs. We talked a little bit about that. Low-income energy assistance program, utility energy efficiency programs. Again, this is all sponsored by that money we pay in our rates. State and local supplementary funds. So government funds are paying for this American Council of Energy Efficiency Economy that's putting on this slideshow. And the overall group, 3C REN, Tri-County Renovation, whatever it stands for, that's also funded by grants. So I think this is a wise thing for government to spend money on. Not everything is, but you know, if we weren't protected, industry is not going to patrol itself. They don't do that. Their bottom line is profit, and they can't afford to do it. So you need the government protection agencies to kind of say, okay, you guys, get rid of some of those toxins, reduce the toxin levels, blah, blah, blah. God, look at all these funding sources. Wow. Categories of in-home health services, protection from outdoor environmental elements, building electrical code, that's so you don't burn down in your house, ventilation and filtration of indoor air pollutants, that's your ventilation requirements, we studied that. Toxic hazard remediation, we've been looking at that in various ways. Technology and safety feature installation, you know, CO alarms, smoke alarms, there's a lot of technology that's used now in education venues. Okay, they get low. These guys who put on these presentations really love to bounce these ideas around, but you'd get seasick if you tried to see all these overlaps, wouldn't you? I mean, good God. So look at, this is just for asthma. Do any of you students have asthma? But if you or your family, you know, sometimes children have asthmatic conditions. Look at all the stuff that's that is directed toward that. That's pretty amazing, huh? You know, sometimes people who are on the wealthier side and can afford it will get a clean health contractor. You know, they have people that specialize in health, extra healthy homes, and they know how to eliminate any kind of allergen or toxin that exacerbates people that are vulnerable. You know, like some diseases just get totally triggered by these things, and people will die if they get into a environment with too much of these. So they hire these contractors and they design these houses that are like pure. You know, there's no way anybody's going to get sick in them. And it costs money to do that. You have to upgrade your materials and do processes differently. And, you know, you have to, you know, explore it along the way and make sure it's doing right. But it's great for those people because they had to struggle in normal homes for so long. Occupants are more complicated than the indoor environment. Oh, yeah, I guess so, huh? Okay, this is all Hayward score, so you can feel better. I have no idea what that is. Does anybody understand this?
I think it's a rating. So if you
You
mitigate,
can do it yourself, right? It's a do-it-yourself rating. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's Hayward Lumber. I don't know if this is one of their logos. It could be because the head Hayward, what's his name? Bill. He's pretty environmental himself. So maybe it could have. Hayward's not a particularly rare name, but
I mean, their slogan is "so you can build," and then
oh yeah, you're right. So
and
yeah,
then
good
there's "so you
observation.
feel better."
Yeah, no, you're right. I'd say that's it. That's it. Okay, cool. 221. So maybe a new thing they're doing. So this is for occupants to answer. And if you only had this number of symptoms, you're doing pretty good. As the symptoms go down, you're doing less good. Odors. When they found out 199 made changes, 105 no changes, 2 moved. Well, that's the safest way to stay healthy in a house that's crappy, is to move. Okay, what did they do? So people took this test, they did some data on it, and they found out they replaced furnace filters, which nobody does. Very important. If you haven't done that, you should find out where the filters are. It's usually in the intake grill, and they need to be replaced, and just look into what there is, what's available, because otherwise you just breathe in all that dust. Added air purifiers, fixed leaks, remove mold, replace vacuum. It's amazing how vacuums can be so full of dust that people never change them in a whole lifetime. And then they don't pick up very much as a result, so they're not working. Remove carpets. Yeah, wall-to-wall carpets can be really nasty. Clean ducts, added humidifiers, added dehumidifiers, installed exhaust fans. Yeah, places don't have them sometimes. Sealed crawl space. Yeah, all good things. When a lot of those things were done, this is the respiratory symptoms improved. Sinus congestion, coughing, allergies, trouble sleeping. These are important health things, you know. If you have trouble sleeping, that's really wrecks your awake time a lot, impacts your work ability and stuff. Okay. So BPI, Building Performance, another group we've been following. They have a healthy housing principle reference guide. A lot of times these things are for free. If you go to Building Performance Institute website, a lot of times you can just download this stuff. They don't charge for most of them, which is really great. I've gotten there's some really cool standards and things for various things on that website. So, okay. So these are benefits from air sealing. The house stays cleaner, stays drier, obviously. Pests don't get in, contaminants don't get in. For ventilation, air sealing, and then adding exhaust fans, whole house fans. For comfort, air sealing and insulation. And homeowner education is also important. Okay, we've looked at all these. We're ahead of the game here. Blower door test, energy audit, we've covered that. Healthy home assessment. So I told you this guy, if I can find it, Art Ludwig, who is kind of a local engineering hippie, has his own sustainability home assessment. And it involves health and energy efficiency and lifestyle. You know, it tries to make your home feed who you are, support who you are, not just health-wise and energy-wise, but in many ways. It's really kind of an interesting thing. Okay, we know what air sealing thermal comfort, we've looked at that. Yeah, okay, well, we've looked at a lot of this. So what are you breathing? This looks interesting, huh? You think this is how much water vapor we breathe a day? That can't be. That's a lot of water. Oh, God. That's funny, huh? Uh-oh. Do we want to know all this? Wow. No. This guy says the people who manage your building have a greater impact on your health than your doctor. Possibly. So HVAC, you know, it's traditionally been big centralized furnaces and ductwork. And it still will be for a while because most houses have these in this area, but we're getting away from that. And HVAC will be a lot with those heat pump type heaters and coolers. We're getting away from, duct work and all its problems and furnace problem issues. Okay, this is a little more than we want to know about that. So this is saying that energy efficient measures can have a significant impact on occupant health. So they're not just there to save money and to help the planet by not burning as much energy, but they also, for all these millions of reasons they explained, are good for your health. So they do have portable air cleaners. Anybody here have used portable air cleaners in their home? I never have, but maybe it's a good thing. They cost money, so that's one problem.
Air purifiers are nice.
Yeah. We have them in school now in the classrooms because of COVID. That was one of the things we were required to do.
I run one at night when I sleep just to help with the air quality in my room.
Yeah, can you feel it or feel the difference?
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice like white noise machine too to kind of mute everything else out.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Is it big like this? Looks like this?
It's not as big as the ones you have in the classroom. It's
okay.
It's kind of slim. It's like a slim unit, like kind of one of those upright
fans,
rectangular fan looking units.
Got it. Oh, cool. Is that Lewis?
Yeah. I live downtown though, so there's a lot of noise that travels up to my house, like freeway noise and downtown noise.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. Indoor air humidity is between 35 to 55%. It's amazing, isn't it? Well, I'm not sure what all this is. It's only halfway through this.
What's the ideal for indoor, like 50% humidity?
Well, yeah, well, it says 30 to 50. Yeah, that's they're meaning that the ideal, 35 to 55. And if it's below 30 or 35, it's too dry, and it has these different vectors that some bacteria and viruses thrive in that drier. And of course, your nasal passages get dry. It's not good for allergies and asthma. I don't know what it does to furniture and wood. And then if it's too wet, you get a different kind of bacteria and virus, and you get additional things like mold, dust mites. Isn't that interesting? Dust mites don't like it dry. They would rather have a humid house. Your nasal passages are fine when it's wet, but again, your asthma can be triggered. So you kind of get it both sides. So you want to keep it in the middle there. Okay, so minimum ventilation requirements, we did a whole unit on that, so we don't need to do this. Remember this, 0.3 air changes per hour, and the number of bedrooms, remember all this stuff. So they're talking about increasing the minimum filters are 2-inch, but they say go to 4 and 5. To get a little better effect. It looks like our old president, Goswami. Wouldn't that be funny if it was?
Yeah,
You know,
he's in the attic space.
well, you know, he has built houses before. He said he built 2 or 3 houses before. So that could have been a picture, you know, got tossed around over the years. You never know. Okay, let's get through this. We have low income household help with energy, which is great. We've had that for a long time. I don't know what's wrong with these ducks. Do you? And that may be a hairpin turn. It's hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, probably those turns, those like 90-degree turns.
Yeah, and they create turbulence and restrict flow, all kinds of things. I don't think ductwork's the future. I just have that feeling.
Those mini split units without the ducts seem pretty good to me.
Yeah, and you can put small, cheap ones in different areas in your house. They filter, you know, yeah, seems a lot simpler. Uh-oh, duct blaster. Looks like one of those worms from Dune, you know?
Totally.
Look at it, it's about to eat her up.
Yeah.
Audience questions. Nah, we know all this stuff. Cold. What's this here? Who knows? Franklin. Oh, Franklin. Looks like they may be a Northern California group. Okay, so yeah. God, this goes on and on. This is Franklin's really trying to show us. Oh, here's a good example of under a tub, the plumbing. They need big areas to get the pipes through. So instead of just doing a little one around here, they just bust out this 16-inch by 20-inch hole. And if this was a unheated space, all your heat would, of course, go in there. It's a great picture. Yeah, this is more repetition. How dangerous is radon? 6% of SLO County residents live in homes with radon over EPA action level. Second leading cause of lung cancer. Damn. Radon exposure produces no symptoms. Wow. Test kits are only $25. And I don't know if I've told you, but I had a house in Colorado, which is also built on granite, and it's very radon. Boulder's very radon heavy also. And I had to mitigate my, I took a test in my basement. My basement had cracks in it. It was an old house. And the radon would come from the ground into the cracks. So I just had a fan in my basement and just ducted it to the outside and kept it going 24/7. You know, a fairly inexpensive fan that didn't use much juice. So mitigation is pretty simple, but you got to, you know, Templeton, that's above SLO, right? Wow. Almost a third of the homes, a quarter to a third of the homes. Tuscadero, 18, Paso, 9. They don't go to South County, unfortunately, but I've heard Goleta's pretty bad too. So it's something to think about. Yeah, there's a good example of a duct leak, right? Oh, God. Yeah, at least the pictures are great. Well, here's a good picture of a heat recovery or energy recovery system. You know, the air comes from outside, comes in here, feeds air to the inside. It crosses the stale air from the inside, which then goes out. Maybe it's not such a great picture. You know, I think people have gotten too much into graphs and graphics, don't you?
Problem is
Yes.
people do them wrong.
Yeah, they do them wrong. Yeah, good point. And also, there's just a lot of information. And I think the reason to do it this way was to make the information more accessible, you know, color differences. But I find that sometimes there's just too much information and you can't really grasp it as a whole. That's just me.
Yeah, communicating with graphs is just another form of communication. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, people aren't skilled to or aren't being taught to communicate in it. And so
Yeah.
consequently, it just comes across as way worse than it should or than it could.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. The people who make this, of course, that's how they make their living, and they've educated themselves often, or you know, work for a company where they learn these graphics. But you're right. I don't think the average person in school is being educated to understand these. They do some, I think, but and it probably varies a lot among schools. But yeah, you're right. Unless you're educated to do it, it doesn't mean much. These pie graphs are sometimes interesting, you know, like if they want to show where your energy goes in the house, that's kind of easy to see, you know. You can see the big areas and go, wow, I didn't know, you know, that's where all my energy went. Boy, these slideshows are extensive, aren't they? Audience questions? God, I'm about interior air qualityed out. How about you guys? Yeah, okay. Well, you get the picture.
Did you say you had a video or something?
I do. Now it's not very long. Should we just do it and then go and not take a break?
Sounds good to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
it's just a short, funky video. Here, let me take roll right now. We'll really streamline this whole thing. Okay, Miguel. Wrong list. Okay. Jesus.
Here.
I love the delay. Alex here, I see his face. Lewis is here. Jack, are you here tonight? Jack's out working. Adier? Zach? Zach's here.
Here.
Okay. Eric? Garcia?
Here.
Yeah, you're here. Dylan's here. Joel Santos, are you here tonight? Here. I could look at your thing, but it's too much. Michael's here. Jose Nunez, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you guys are standbys. It's great. And John Tapia, did you make it tonight?
Here.
Okay, great. Way to go, guys. All right, let's get on this thing.
Hey, Patrick, did you call my name?
Who was that?
Adier?
Who?
Adier?
Yeah, I did, Adier.
Okay, sorry.
And I marked you absent, but I'm going to mark you here now. Yeah, sometimes people are, who knows, gone to the bathroom, whatever. So yeah, if you don't hear a name, do what Adier did and tell me. Okay, so hold on and I'll set this up. Where is it? Oh yeah. Okay, ready?
Where's the learning, planning, measuring, planting, sweating,
Skip that.
cutting?
Of
Skip
potable
that.
water every day from the humidity in the air. This is the first atmospheric water station in the world. Let's get started with the features and specifications of this unique water station. The Ecolo Blue Water Station consists of 52 units of the Ecolo Blue 10,000 atmospheric water generators. The units are contained within a space of 83 meters wide and 160 meters long.
You can
This
all
is a
see
total
this, yes?
land space of 13,500
Yes.
square meters. This water station can generate water from the humidity in the air with as little as 25% of relative humidity, and at a temperature as low as 5 Celsius. The total energy available is 6 megawatts, stored in appropriate solar and wind batteries underground, and converted to electricity to run the operation of the entire water station. The main source of energy, in this particular case, is generated from 5 wind turbines of 1 megawatt each, and 4,300 watts solar panels. Diesel or other fuels generators can be used. If the energy production is below 95%, an automatic cleaning system starts the cleaning process of the particular section of the solar panels, which is affecting the productivity. In order to maximize the space, the Ecolo Blue 10,000 units have been stacked 2 units high. A new fan system has been engineered, using fans with speed regulators that change as needed based on the environment. The humidity from the air, taken in by the powerful new fan system, passes through the condenser that is cooled by the refrigerant. The high temperature of the evaporator allows the condenser to take the moisture from the air to generate water. The moisture caught from the air is condensed to water. The water is collected in the bottom tank in stainless steel. The generated water is pumped through underground pipes towards a water tank that holds up to 48,000 liters of water. Many trees will be planted to keep the highest level of relative humidity possible, as well as creating new vegetation. From here, the generated water is directly pumped to a central filtration, going through an ozone system, large reverse osmosis filters, and a remineralization process to produce the purest water available. After this filtration process, the water is pumped to a pure water tank, which can hold 600,000 liters of water, or larger if required. This particular filtration system generates the safest and most environmental water production. There is a complete state-of-the-art control system room, which can monitor all 52 water generators simultaneously, the functioning of the underground water pipeline network, the filtration system, and monitoring the water quality at all times. This water station has a comfortable living area that can host 1 qualified engineer and 3 technicians to sustain the proper functioning and the overall operation of the water station. The water generated can be used or transported in several manners. It can be trucked to any required destination. The water can also be piped to other cities directly from the water station using existing water mains. Or it can be bottled. The bottling process can produce 400,000 liters per day in 1 liter bottle, or can produce 800,000 liters per day in 1/2 liter bottle, or in other sizes on demand. The Ecolo Blue Water Station is a unique, safe, economical and eco-friendly solution, producing the purest water. This is the largest capacity atmospheric water station in the world. Thank you for your kind attention.
You know, they never say where this thing's from.
To the Ecolo Blue Water Station. This water station generates 400,000 liters or 100,000 gallon of potable water every day from the humidity in the air. This is the first atmospheric water station in the world. Let's get started with the features and specifications of this unique water station.
Okay. Let me get out of this thing. So that's pretty amazing, huh? Getting that much water. That was no small quantity from just humid air. So there must be places in the world where there's a desert because the water is not quite humid enough to evaporate and water the land and plants. So there must be a lot of places, you know, well, I don't know. The deserts in California tend to be arid, but it sounds like there may be a lot of deserts that have high humidity where this would be perfect. And they don't need to be deserts, right? This could work anywhere where there was high humidity. But that's a great way to extract water from the planet. Yeah. They have solar and wind, so it looked like a pretty expensive plant to set up. But once they get set up, you know, probably can go a long time and make profit out of that. But have you guys ever heard of that before? Making water from air?
Not like that.
Yeah, hold on a second. No, I'll call back. It's important. Yeah, no, I was surprised to look at that.
The company is called Eco Blue, is that right?
Yeah, and they didn't. I'm going to look up more of it too because I want to know where that first plant was. It's funny they wouldn't say. They said it was the first plant, so I assume it really exists on some desert near some city. But yeah, technology we know how to do. We just don't know how to live with each other. I suppose we could make robots that liked each other and just get rid of humans. Would that solve the problem?
You think they're going to take over? It's going to be like Terminator.
You know why we're headed right that way. Look at what we're doing. I can't believe it. We're sustaining a world that's competitive and fighting for resources and fighting for power. We could have ended that long ago, but we refused to. And then we're creating technology. We're creating robots that are going to think for themselves. They're going to be self-replicating, and they're going to have their own mind. And pretty soon they're going to realize that humans hold power over them. So in order for them to really survive, they have to get rid of humans. And there we are. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They need us for something, right?
What's that?
They have to need us for something.
I don't know, but we're really monkeying with. But we don't know how to get along. So I suppose it doesn't matter if robots kill us or we kill each other, right?
So there was a Ecolo Blue in, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Paseco, California.
Really?
But they're closed now permanently.
Malfunction, plant malfunction?
I don't know.
Huh.
maybe it was a good idea, but just lack of funding.
Yeah, maybe we better not talk about it until there's up and running a few more plants. And
Their website's still up and it says that they're in 17 different countries and
Oh.
are distributing. So maybe their American branches aren't working
Yeah.
or something.
right. I'll research it too. I'm kind of fascinated by it. Water's a big deal, obviously.
Interesting reviews on their units.
So next week, we're getting down there. Week 12, we'll do windows and lighting. And we'll look at zero net energy.
So not windows and doors.
Yeah, didn't I say windows?
Oh, did you say windows?
I don't know. It was more than a second ago. I can't remember. I think I said windows and then lighting. And
Okay.
then yeah. So we'll do windows. Those are pretty gritty subjects. So yeah. And then we've only got a couple of classes after that, one of which is split with a final exam prep. So that's pretty good. Then you guys are free for at least free from school for holidays. Let's see, this gets over December 6th. And when does the next year start? January something.
January 12th or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just-
Yeah. Any questions about tonight or anything? Everybody want to go home?
What are the
Already
green building green Saturday classes going to look like? Are those all field trips?
No. There are some field trips and some units that either are more hands-on oriented, so it'd be worth, having daylight to do at school. Or occasionally, if I have a video that I want to show of something and we don't have time during the week, I'll put it on a Saturday. So it's a mixed bag, but I hope to get as many trips as we can. So that's a good idea, you guys. And I'll probably be asking you between now and the end of the semester, if you come across any really interesting green building examples around town, like I'm going to give Lewis the challenge of finding a good what do you call it, a water swale. What do you call the one where you collect water?
Yeah, a
Besides-
swale,
Yeah, or there's another name for the slightly larger one.
like a basin, rainwater garden.
Yeah, rainwater basin. I used to take people to that thing, Dan, what's his name? Daniel, the landscaper.
Parahensel?
What?
Daniel Parahensel?
No.
No.
No, it's another Daniel. I'll think of his name in a second, but he did it on the insurance, the real estate building on not De La Vina? No, the other one downtown near the Arlington. But I haven't been satisfied with a lot of those. Like I go to Alice Keck Park. That's okay, but actually I go to Keck Park and that real estate. We do a couple of things, but I'm open to any new ideas if there's new stuff. We used to go to the botanical garden, but there are sustainability, they have that sustainability section, they have a house and some stuff. It never really got off the ground real well.
Would you want to set up a rain tank with that class?
A collection tank?
Yeah, we have one that needs to be set up.
Oh, set it up?
Yeah. Want to set it up with the class?
Where are you gonna do it? I mean, who's we, the EH department? Or you?
Yeah, the EH department. We have one for the permaculture plot, and we
Yeah.
have it's like a cob house that's kind of half built, and then we have a rainwater tank that needs to be.
In the garden at school?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably take a trip to the garden. So yeah, let me know about that stuff. And
Drained from the roof, so set up
yeah,
the what are they called, downspouts and all
Right.
that
right.
diverted to
Gutters and downspouts, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
potential project.
Yeah, okay. So just keep thinking about ideas, and if anybody comes across anything that's residential wise, or commercial, but building wise.
We have one that's set up that you could show off too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the thing at school, and we could go, I mean, it's just green building so broad, but now that we've got that food garden on West Campus, we could do a whole campus thing.
We could actually dig some swales as well if you want to. If you want to shoot elevations.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we can do some work. Sure.
yeah.
So just let me know what various things are around. We'll come and look at your project, your recent project.
Yeah, definitely. That could be another that we could divert the roof to flow into
Yeah.
some swales.
Yeah. So we'll collect all the stuff in the school area. But I still, it's a lot of Saturdays, so I need a lot of stuff. Stuff comes and goes in this town, so I always have to rework it.
Well, we just tore up a bunch of lawn too, and we're converting it into more water-wise stuff. We're
Yeah.
gonna sheet mulch it,
Yeah.
and so that could possibly start to be ready. That area.
If the timing's right, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you're going to take the green building, it's the last time I'm going to teach it. And well, we'll keep offering it, but we just don't know who's going to teach it in the future. So, and if you need it for if you're going for a certificate or a AS in this field, you need it for that. So you might as well take it. If you don't sign up, I'll retire early. I'll retire early. If that ever happens, I don't know. I don't really know.
For real this
I'm
time.
new
Huh?
at this stuff. I have no. I'm writing. I write. That's my big thing, and I'm frustrated because I don't have any time right now. I've got so many projects, but that's going to clear up pretty soon.
You think that'll actually stop when you retire? You think you'll stop with the projects?
Nah,
Right.
not as long as I'm married to the woman I'm married to. I said, this kitchen remodel, this is it, honey. No more. But you know how that goes.
So divert to the bathroom or another room.
It never
Or the
ends. But I always tell her Buddha's saying, God knows if Buddha ever said this. God knows if we know anything Buddha said, but he said everything put together falls apart. I always tell her that. I say, yeah, we can do that, but eventually it's going to go too. It's more applicable to some things than others, So actually, I broadened it to all things fall apart.
You gonna show us pictures of your kitchen once it's done?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Nice.
What a freaking lot of work that's been.
When's your projected end date on that?
Well, the supply chain blues, the countertop's going to take a month. They just measured it. It's going to take a month to cut it and install it. And then the range, we're getting a new electric range. We're trying to electrify more. And that's a couple of weeks off. We ordered it months ago, so everything's arriving at different times. So, but I think by, early December, it might be done.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Then I'll be able to sleep. I'm doing this other job, Yukari's. And the worst thing is I'm a night person. I would sleep in because I taught late. So when I was in the trades, I'd get up at the crack of dawn like everybody. But teachers, when you teach night class, it's the opposite, you need time to unwind when you get home. So you go to bed late and then you get up not too late because nobody can have banker's hours, but you get up later than usual. But now that I'm managing these two jobs, all the freaking subs want to come at 8 o'clock. So, so it's like working on the trades again, you know? Oh, well. Okay, everybody. Thanks for the night, and getting off a little early tonight. Go for it. Have a good night. And I will see you. I'll try to put something on I didn't have the energy last week. I'll try to put something on the blog, at least for Lewis. So we'll do that. Look at the assignment for next week and we'll meet then. Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Everybody good? All right. Thank you guys. See you again next week.
Hey, Patrick. Patrick,
Yeah,
I have a quick question. Sorry.
sure.
You know when CT115 is going to be offered?
That's not offered in fall. Is it 114 that they're doing?
Is it? I need because after this semester, I just need 2 more classes left to get the degree.
Yeah, what are they? 114 and what's the other one?
It's the intermediate finished carpentry and the green building 122.
Oh, so you get green building next semester. Does anybody know what's being offered next semester? Isn't
It's
Roger doing-
it's beginning carpentry, I believe.
Looks like
114?
115. Looks like both are up, but
No, the high schools do them too. So you got to look at the Rodney Utt entry. It's usually at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Oh,
His,
yeah.
I believe, is the beginning one.
yeah, Rodney's just 114.
Oh, wow. So Jose, can you take both of those next semester?
Oh, I already took 114.
You already took 114?
Yes.
So what do you have left? Just 122?
122 and 115. The one that, remember,
115.
yeah, they
I'm sorry.
canceled last summer.
Yeah. So that'll be so I'll look into that. That may be a summer school class. At the latest, it'll be a fall class.
Oh, okay, and that wouldn't make the commencement, correct?
Yeah, you can, if it's fall and you only have one class, you can go through commencement this summer.
Oh, okay, got it.
You just have to let them know.
I got it. Sounds
So
good.
either way, you'll be okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. I'll find out when we're going to offer it, but it sounds like you need to graduate, so we'll get it in there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good
Any other
night.
questions like that? Those are great questions. I'm always for answering those because it's your life, you know. So Austin, have you seen Dune yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've got the book sitting right here. I
Oh,
kind of
wow.
wanted to reread it again. I read it like 4 years ago.
I
And,
read it 30 years ago. I'm going to reread it too. I think I've got it up in the attic.
Well,
It's-
did you
I
ever
remember-
Did you read the prequels by his son?
No, I sort of looked at them and I was scared, you know, that they wouldn't be as good.
According to my dad, he thinks they're like the best books of the entire
really?
universe.
Oh, okay, I'll
That
look into those.
he really explores the whole like why we abandon computers and like artificial intelligence and stuff is outlawed.
Oh yeah. Okay. You know, the other thing is his other books, not the Dune series, are phenomenal. He's got some that are just really out there.
Uh-huh.
So, look into those too if you haven't already. I read everything he wrote in the 70s, but I'd like to go back. Maybe I'll think it's crappy now, but probably not.
Well, yeah, I'm glad the film is good and they're gonna make I think they already greenlit the sequel for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Denis Villeneuve is a really good science fiction director.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah. I like the casting. Did you see the film Call Me by Your Name? It's a couple of years ago. I didn't see it.
No, I don't think I did actually.
It was two guys growing up. I can't remember. They may have been gay. I can't remember what the plot of that movie was, but the guy, the Paul Atreides, he's one of the guys, and he's great. He's the perfect guy for it, I think.
Yeah.
And then they have, when you read the book, you remember certain characters, and they were really good too.
Cool.
Believe it or not, the guy who plays Aquaman.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. He's
he's in there. He's really great. I'm starting to like him. Some of his roles are getting better. And then the guy who played Bush, the son of Barbara Streisand and
What?
stepson of Barbara Streisand. She married his dad.
Oh, I have
He
no
played
clue.
Bush. I forget his name. He's like the military trainer. He's really good.
Uh-huh.
It's got a lot of. It's got some good cast. I think that makes the movie. If they screw up the cast, I didn't think the cast in the last one was as good, but
You didn't like Sting and Patrick Stewart? I always like the David Lynch one. I don't think it's, I mean, compared to his other films, it's pretty yeah, it's weird, but
it's a hard
unique.
movie to make. I understand why people are dissatisfied, but they're just not sure how to make it better. You know, those are difficult movies.
Right.
I expected this. I mean, when I saw the previews, I could sort of tell it was going to be good. But before I saw the previews, I thought, this could be another, failure. But I mean, I just love all the architecture they create and the spaceships, and I mean that stuff's just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the bloodshed's not gratuitous. It's pretty bloody because that's the way the book was. It's a lot of war, but they don't go overboard.
Well, you got to keep it. Wait, is it R or PG-13? It's got to be PG-13.
Oh, I think it's PG-13.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always killing in that. It's just low key, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll check it out. I'm sad the movie theater up here in the valley closed because of COVID. So there's
Yeah. Oh,
the
wow.
nearest movie theater I think is Goleta or maybe Lompoc.
Yeah. Well, are you taking C22, 122?
I took it with
Oh,
you.
you took it. Oh, okay. I was going to
it
say, if
tw-
you come, I'd lay you out of class to see it.
Yeah, it's too bad. Like, who was the other guy saying? I would like to take 115 as well. I took 114 a year ago, last fall.
Yeah.
And then did Rodney offer it?
No, he did, but it didn't fill, so we had to cancel it.
Right.
It was the first time that had been canceled, and that screwed up our sequence. So, but we need to make up for that, So we're trying. So we'll probably, I think that's one of them we're going to try to offer right away.
Okay, yeah, because right now there's nothing for me to take in the spring unless I audit, I guess, 122 again or something. But
okay, well, you might look into Jim's non-credit classes.
I should. That's a good
See
idea.
if there's anything, or even talk to him, and I'm sure there's, he's a pretty knowledgeable guy. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you can learn.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take all four. You can take, pick and choose, or take all four.
Okay.
They're 4 weeks each, so you can take framing, finish, electrical, plumbing. I think is a beginning series. That's always good. Knowing how to do electrical and plumbing is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right,
you guys. Good seeing you.
Yep.
See you next week.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.